Ah, hello there. Yes, it's me again. Ay, 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 ay. I would say recently, the other day, I had a very good day. I went out for a walk around the Portobello and up all the way up to West to Whiteley's and Queensway and so forth. But other than that, you know, something's been bothering me. Something very big, something, I don't know, it's been on my mind for a long while, and it's basically about that consultation meeting I went with the rest of Support for Living and the rest of the tenants to ask about rivers. Basically, we were there at the meeting or consultation to speak to members of Riverside ECHG, which are basically a new support company that are taking over from Certude, because Certude are another company who support people with learning disabilities and possibly with housing, who recently unfortunately lost the bid to Riverside ECHG. But for me, unfortunately, I feel that Brent Council kind of like sold us down the river by just giving it to them on a silver platter, and this happened very, very quickly, almost like instantaneously, without our knowledge, without our consultation, or anything. And it's the one thing that's kind of like not only just upset me, but everyone else who are frightened, worried about the changes that's been going on in government, you know, cuts of benefits and all that, and the fact that Brent Council don't care who we end up with is what worries and concerns me the most. Being the a-holes they are, these bloomin' bloody boroughs and all that. Sorry, I don't want to swear too much on here because I don't want to get booted off and stuff. So, I like to keep it nice and clean. But for me, Brent Council are a bunch of douchebags. I don't know what idiot is running them in charge there, or who the hell they are to decide what support company we get and what we don't get. I don't like it. You know, two members of Riverside ECHG, you know, they came in here, the consultation, they tried to explain everything as clearly as well as, but they were totally unprepared, unrehearsed, and didn't have a plan, let alone a clue. Brent Council kept them in the dark as much as well as us. And you know what? They didn't even bother to send one of their councillors over there with them to explain the whole shebang, as it were. And it was just a total farce, a total mess. Many members were questioning them and picking holes in their plans and stuff to divide, and kind of like restructured the whole network, if you like, of support. I mean, who are leaving Certude, and you know, they wanted to reassess everyone and get staff and make everyone reapply as well as staff reapply for the jobs. In other words, they're laying them off. Yeah, that's right. That's right. We're being sold down the river like by regular Arnold Benedicts. That's all I've got to say. And you know, a part of me is worried about me losing my support. You know, my support worker. I tried to explain this to my dad and getting him to, you know, come over all the way down to a consultation over in Willesden at St Mungo's, but he wouldn't understand. I tried to explain to him, but he just didn't get it because he's very busy and tied up with his stuff, let alone little old me. Not to say, oh, I'm trying to create tension for myself or anything like that, but I'm worried for my support worker because he kind of like argued, and being very business and career minded, know how the how these people work. No doubt he did his research, but he definitely picked a lot of holes in their logic and questioned a lot of things that just weren't right, including another couple of members' staff on top of that as well. You know, and one of our tenants was frightened and confused and worried because in some ways this almost sounded like the apocalypse, like the beginning of the end, as it were, that of what Brent Council were doing to us, and it was just wrong. I just had to, you know, I said a few things, and when they said that some people, that some of the staff were going to have to reapply, I was like shouting like, "Are you?" You know, I'm not going to use the but it was like, "Are you frickin' kidding me?" type thing. You know, I shouted. Well, it would have been a bit of an abusive language, but I had every right to say it. You know, because I'm just very concerned about what is going on, and half of us just don't understand or even have a clue ourselves as to what they were trying to say to us for all these changes they were implementing, they were coming in, and they take place. And I got some of the paperwork, some of the letters they sent me, you know, from both Brent Council as well as Certitude and Riverside at ECHG. Even if you had never even heard of these companies, look them up on Google them, look them up on the internet. I have. And I found a few things about Riverside ECHG that in some ways I feel just look too good to be true, only all they said on the website wasn't completely so when they came to consult with us in the meeting. And all I can say, you know, it's a complete shambles. The whole thing has been politically motivated because obviously David Cameron hates the poor, hates the weak, doesn't want to know, doesn't want to care, doesn't want to give a shit. It's total slime mold, along with him as well as that of Chancellor Osborne. God, I really hate those guys, I really do. I'm sorry if they're watching this, but I'm afraid it's just the darn frickin' truth, and I don't need swearing to make my point clear enough anyway. You know, it's just a complete, absolute disgrace, let alone a frickin' scandal. I mean, you know, what's going to happen to those staff what if they try to reapply and then their application failed? I mean, not all of them are going to get through. We're going to lose half them. And already, like one of the head managers is staying over at Certitude as another manager, so we're going to be losing them. We're also losing another couple of staff. And also it means the fact that we're transferring to Riverside ECHG, which means that Certitude, who work alongside with another organisation called My Choice, right, and we've got like 2 to 3 My Choice workers working with us, means that they won't be able to work with us anymore, because as soon as we go to Riverside this March coming, we're going to lose them. They won't be able. They'll be relocated somewhere else. It's just tragic, really. And for me, you know, the situation is just totally 100%. It's just totally 100%. No, 1,000, billion, million, trillion, quadrillion, and million% unacceptable. It really is. It's just wrong. I mean, basically, Brent Council, they just turned our backs on us. It's an absolute betrayal to all the hard work that Brent Outreach team have kind of like put into the last 3 or 4 years, at least 5 even. I don't know, but you know, I don't know. It just means for me we don't know what the future holds. I mean, no one knows. We don't know what Riverside. I mean, oh yeah, they're a big housing network company. No doubt they have loads of houses here and there. Okay, great. But I don't like their plans. I don't like what they're cooking up and how they put it across. They tried doing a drawing game and it almost looked like a virus is going to attack the restructuring. Like, oh, they're putting in all these project assistants who get paid little than that of the other major staff. It's ridiculous. If you don't know what that means, well, I just have to wait until I get more information about it. But I took one look at the drawing game. It looked like a children's diagram, to be honest. They haven't really, like, you know, put their presentation together that terribly well as I thought they had. You know, 2 or 3 members of staff in the background sitting with all the other people just picked away at it. A bit like Jeremy Paxman on Newsnight, if you know what I mean. Hell, if he were there amongst us, boy, oh boy, it would be grilling like crazy. Well, we did grill them like crazy, and they were kind of almost like sweating along with it. I don't know. It's what I create. This is worse than the great rock and roll swindle, the Sex Pistols, and all that. you know, it's almost like financially we're going to get less money, and we'll be kind of like screwed in a more than profound way. That's what's that's what's going on. Over, we're having to go against the sort of like tide of baloney that's just kind of like coming down upon us, and yeah, this is big. This is kind of like major. Let alone just the bedroom taxes and all of that. It's crazy, man. It's just crazy. I mean, what can I say? I just had to get that off my chest, man. I just had to get that off my chest. I mean, you know, I told my aunt about this over on Skype, and she was just as worried and concerned as I was. Though now she's told me not to, because she would have obviously received like emails from Support for Living about this, so she would have been well informed. Hopefully, I'm hoping. Don't know about my dad, because he's too busy trying to get himself re-registered onto the board of osteopaths. Yes. But with all the major cuts and all that, he too's with problems of his own, having to deal with some holes in the board that are having to make him redo that all over again, because, you know, back in the day it was completely different. Now he's having to do it another different way. There's just more bureaucracy, let alone all the insurance companies, quangos, and I could go on about that, but it's just too much. It's just too much hassle. I mean, you know, I kind of like told you all there is to know. I mean, what more can I possibly say except that this is just a complete, like, as I would like to put it, like a complete conspiracy to thwart us. It's almost like they've been waiting to be rid of us for a long time. Almost like they want to treat us like as if we were a bunch of freaks. Ugh, I mean, hell, I don't want to go. I know people don't want to go back to the old days, the 80s, like in that Ian McKellen film. You know, we were in those institutions, all that, let alone Winterborn. And everyone knows what happened in Winterborn. Oh, yeah. Winterborn indeed. Don't want to go back those days. Thankfully, I wasn't in them. Well, I was in a boarding school for 7 or 8 years with people like myself with autism and Asperger's and whatnot. I don't know, would that sound like for nearly 10 years I was almost institutionalized? Ooh, heck. I don't know what your comments and thoughts on that one would be, but you know, hey, please subscribe, rate, comment, anything. Look at my drum videos as well as my Asperger video, and blogs would be nice. Please don't think I'm trying to be an attention seeker or anything like that at all. I'm just trying to kind of like raise awareness of what the hell is going on, trying to explain to people the best way I can. If you want me to make another blog about this and explain more clearer detail, please at least leave your comments and thoughts, and I'll be glad to answer them as best as I can ASAP. So, well, best leave it at that. Don't want it going over too long, but you know, like I said before, please rate, subscribe, and comment, and I'll talk to you guys later. See you soon. Ciao.